Hey guys, Viking Reefing here. I recently hosted a poll over on Instagram where I asked the community what you guys would be most interested in me showing you for my next YouTube video. And the overwhelming majority picked the option where I would go through all the technical aspects of this tank, all the equipment I use for the running of the tank. So let's get into it. So I figure let's start from the top and work our way down. So right at the top is my light fixture. This guy is a Giesmann Aurora V8. It's a LED T5 hybrid. When I'm shooting this, it's kind of late, so it's not pumping out 100% on all channels exactly. But as you can see here, it has 8 80-watt T5 bulbs and 5 LED pucks. It's a very wide light. My tank is 80 centimeters wide, and this covers it without any problems whatsoever front to back. It has great spread, obviously, since it's T5s, and I can use one single fixture to illuminate my entire 2-meter tank. Its housing is aluminum, so it's quite heavy. And this is German engineering at its very finest. I'm very happy with this light. I've been running it now for about a year since I set this tank up. But I actually will be replacing this light in a matter of weeks, hopefully, because I will be trialing the all-new Giesmann Aurora V12, which is basically the same light as this. The main difference will be that it's all LEDs. I've never used a full LED setup before, so it's going to be very interesting to see how that one performs. I'll make a full overview of that once it arrives. Next up is my lid. I will be doing a full video on this as well, but this is a custom lid from Top Lids, which is a manufacturer out of the US. It has feeding ports, such as this. They also did cutouts for my Ocean Motions engines and the auto feeders. I only have one auto feeder at the moment, but I'm planning to have another one over here. So there's a cutout for that as well, but it's covered at the moment. Really like this lid as well. It's very sturdy and it looks very good. I've had these Red Sea Reefer lids before and stuff like that, and I've never been really happy with them. I don't really think they're too aesthetically pleasing. Moving on, as you can see, I have 3 of these guys. These are Ocean Motions engines. So what they do is that they oscillate a pump, such as this. You see this guy? It's moving backwards and forwards. Backwards and forwards. These have been a great help to get some more random flow into the tank. There have been similar things on the market for quite a while. The sea sweeps comes to mind, for example, out of the US. I think these are, well, kind of more sleek looking. And they're also made in Europe, which I like. This one here, I've actually paused that one because this guy, let's see here, that's a Armageddon something or other. I really did like when I pumped up the flow and just aimed it right at that. Now that we're speaking about the Ocean Motions, I can also mention that I'm using CJ XDCs on them. They are the controllable variety, which are app controlled. Great little pumps. For my application, they work fine when they're mounted on the back wall like this. They're not powerful enough to use on a tank this size if you would be placing them on the short ends of the tank. But for this, they're awesome. Very quiet, and they hardly have any voltage draw whatsoever, and pumps out very little heat. They actually even have a integrated temperature measurement inside of them. It's probably more of a brag on CJ's part, just to show that their pumps, well, don't really put out much heat. Speaking of pumps, I have two of these Octo 4s. It's the bigger variety. Funny thing is, I cleaned these things a couple of weeks ago and they're covered with coralline already, which is kind of annoying. I must say, I'm not super happy with these. They're quite loud and they have very poor controllability, so you can't really set any sort of a program throughout the day. You can basically just pick random mode or a couple of pulse modes, and that's about it. So I will be replacing these. You can also see the very visible cord here. And I want to make this tank look as sleek as possible, so I will be replacing these in a while. I'll make a separate video once I've figured out what I'm going to be putting in. I'm leaning towards a couple of MP40s on either side. I realized I forgot something. This is my EHAIM auto feeder. I have a mixture of flakes and pellets in this. EHAIMs are the only auto feeders I ever use. Their reliability is second to none. It has a very good price point, and I've never actually had any issues with any of them. Apart from one, when my cat knocked it into the tank. But you really can't fault EHAIM for that. It can feed up to 4 times a day, I believe. And you can also do some manual feedings if you'd like. Lastly, on this side of the wall, I have my control cabinet from Adaptive Reef, where I've mounted my JHL gear. So I'm running a Profilux 4 here, which I'm very happy about. Super stable system, hasn't given me any issues whatsoever, apart from kind of a wonky ORP probe once I've first got it, but that was handled very quickly and no issues since then. This one also controls my ozone, which means that it's very important to have a ORP probe that works properly. I'm running a GHL doser 2.1 here, which is dosing my modern Reef supplements for alkalinity, calcium, magnesium, and what have you. This is my KH director. I installed this a couple of weeks ago because I freaking hate testing. That's why. I'm pretty lazy when it comes to testing. And the more I can automate, the happier I'll be. I left this. Firstly, I thought I wouldn't let it control my alkalinity, but I've been running it I believe I ran it for about a week or something, and I got very consistent results. And then I thought to myself, what the hell, I'll try the automatic calibration of the dosing fluids. And I haven't had any issues whatsoever. It's been spot on since I started using it. So very nice piece of kit. The installation was also very easy. The only problem is that I have to run a bunch of wires, tubes and stuff through a wall, which kind of is a pain in the butt. This piece of gear is the last piece of gear I will be showing you on this side of the wall. Next up, we'll go into the sump room and have a look. But first, I might be able to show you how things travel to and from my sump. I have the gap between the tank and the shadow overflow box covered by this thing. This is a piece of acrylic. So simply remove that. It's attached with magnets here and here. Coming in here, you can see my dosing containers. The modern Reef system is a 4-part dosing system, so they're all back here. So these tubes, they go up to the JHL doser, And then let's look at this rat's nest back here with stuff. Then they travel here into this hole, and that goes into the sump room. It's good to be able to cover all this crap back here. Here's the returns, or the return and the two overflows. This is the shadow overflow box right here, which is covered by a bunch of crap at the moment, but the lid is made from top lids, and they did a very nice thing where they put my tag right here. So let's take a walk to the sump room. This is our joint tank and my daughter's playroom, hence all the balls and crap here, which I constantly trip over. You walk in here. This is our guest bedroom. So if you're ever staying over here, you're in charge of the tank. And this is my kind of messy tool and sump room. So this is a real behind the scenes. I pride myself in having my tank look neat. This is where all the clutter is. So let's start with the sump. Let's move from where the overflow goes in, and then we'll work our way left. So this is the main overflow, and this is the emergency. So this goes here. This is controlled by this ball valve here. Goes in here and here. These are the old holes for my previous tank, which I've cemented up. Goes into here, and it goes into this Arca CFF core, I believe it's called. It's a fleece roller, which works great. I used to have a Clarity, which I freaking hated. It kept jamming on me, and the motor burned out, and there was some sort of a crucible screw that got bent for whatever reason. So I threw that out, put this in here. And it's super simple to change rolls and stuff as well. If anyone is interested, because I haven't seen much info on these things, I can do a more in-depth video on it. It basically has the same footprint as the Clarity. So it has a very, very small footprint, and I'm very happy with it. I did have some spare Clarity rolls, because I bought like 5 or 6 of them before I threw the old one out. And they also fit great on this. This is just a cheap grow light from Amazon, which I've made a very professional bracket. I meant to do something much more nice, but yeah, I guess that's stuck because I've had this on for like 9 months or something. I will probably be getting a algae scrubber for this tank in a bit as well, because I'm not a fan of the light bleed, which causes a mess in my sump, so yeah. Here I just have some Kato. The glare is kind of horrific here. The next compartment is just a bunch of live rock, which has tons of sponge on it. Since I have a lot of angels and butterflies and stuff like that, I like to grow some sponge in here, so I can just pick up a rock and throw it into the main tank and let them graze on it for a while. Moving on. This is my Bubble King 250 Supermarine RD3 Speedy. Awesome skimmer, best I've ever had. I bought these carbon cups to filter out any residual ozone that might escape if it hasn't reacted with the water. It also removes any and all odors, so if you have a Bubble King skimmer, I would really advise you to get these things. They're awesome. This is my rather large UV sterilizer. It's a 110 watt unit from Tropical Marine Center, TMC. It's called a Pro Pond, I believe. If you have a large tank, I would really recommend these units. The Biggest benefit I see with them is that the bulb changes is very cheap. I believe I pay around, let's see here, around 35 euros or something to replace both bulbs in this one. Looking at like a Deltec 40 watt one, it's double that for just one bulb. So these are very good. They're not that expensive to buy either. I believe they're around 400 euros or something. It's fed by a J-bow pump. It's a DC version controllable of, I don't really have much more to say about that. Here we have a Aquaforest media reactor. This is very good. Super easy to unscrew and replace the media. I had a little accident. I forgot to put in both the sponges here that were supposed to be separating the GFO and the activated carbon. So now it's just a big mix of everything. I'll pull all that out and fix it in a bit. This is my Eheim Jaeger, or Jäger, as you would say in Swedish, heater. It's a 300 watt unit. I might need another one because the temperature kind of drops a bit too much sometimes. This is controlled by my GHL Profilux as well, but what I like about these things is that they have an internal temp controller as well, and I never had one of them fail in the on position. I think I've had one in like 20 years fail in the off position or something like that. So these heaters are great and they're very cheap as well. And you get a bit of extra redundancy if you connect them to a controller, because it has a very reliable internal temperature controller, and then you have your primary controller which can control it as well. This is my return pump. It's a Red Dragon 5. It has a max output of 11,000 liters per hour. I believe I have mine, let's see here, in the top cabinet here. Oops. I have to pause it. That's not good. Crap. Oh no! This isn't good. The Tennessee return pump really didn't like this. Crap. Wait a minute. I'll get back to you. We're back. So this has a maximum output or draw of a 110 watts. It's at 78 watts at the moment, and you can see the RPM here. The RPM is very useful to see if you need to clean your pump or something, because you can see that dropping if it gets dirty. Here's some more rat's nests. This is the controller for the skimmer. It's on 36 watts. I believe it has a maximum wattage of 50. And I can't really go over 36 watts because then I won't get any skimmate. It just turns into freaking jacuzzi. Here's the power supply for that, for the return pump as well. Moving on onto here. This is the output of my balling solutions here, the modern Reef stuff. You can see this is the tank water that draws into the cage director. Here are the probes for the Profilux. I find that if you place them in this baffle, they seem to have a very good flow around them, which won't disturb them too much, and you'll avoid any bubbles and stuff getting trapped on them. Well, you heard that freaking beeping. So that's my Tunes return pump. Sorry, not return pump, ATO, which sits right down here at the moment. I haven't really found a good way to hook it up to my RO bin, which I will hopefully be able to find a good way shortly. Over here, we have my CO2 scrubber. It's from Aquatic Exclusive. It's a Hong Kong-based company, and it's doing great. The only problem is that this holds about 1 liter of media, and for my size tank it lasts around a week, which is kind of annoying. I would probably like get a bit more out of it, so I'll probably size up eventually. This was a very good trial to see if I liked running a CO2 scrubber, which I really do. Going up here, I have another GHL doser 2.1. This is a 3-headed variety. And this one doses the other 2 supplements from Modern Reef. So this is called Polypop. I'll make a more in-depth video about these things as we go on. And this is called Complete Reef Food. These containers are also from Aquatics exclusive. What is interesting about these is that they have a magnetic stir on them right here, because these supplements need to be stirred. Oops. I'm going to put these things on a timer, so it just stirs them up like once a week or something. Here is my Ozone Generator. It's a sander, C200. It puts out 200 milligrams of ozone an hour, and it's fed by this pump. I thought that the Bubble King would have sufficient air draw, so it would need a pump, but yeah, for whatever reason, I need to feed it with a little air pump. And it goes into this. This is, I believe this is a Kynar line. It's completely inert to ozone. Ozone breaks down plastics and well, even silicone. So this thing goes into here and down into the ozone port here on the skimmer. Works great. I don't find that it affects skimming all that much. The only thing is that it seems to be, so you get very clear skim rate, so it seems to be removing some stuff before the skimmer can handle it. Lastly over here is that I still have a redundancy ATO, because I installed the Tunes ATO a couple of weeks ago, just to make sure that everything works well. I have my old Auto Aqua AVC Touch, I believe it's called. Let's see if I can reach around here and show you guys it. I used to use this for automatic water changes as well. It's right there. But the pumps are kind of weak, and I can find a good place to use it here. So I'll be trying out the new GHL Doser 2.2 for automatic water changes in a bit. If we turn over here, more mess. I have my RO bin, and this is my saltwater bin. This is my RO station. It's an Arca, my Aqua 1900. Love this thing. It puts out, well, around 1900 liters per 24 hours under optimal conditions. I think mine puts out a little bit less than that. It could possibly be like restrictions somewhere or water pressure or whatever. Excuse me. It goes down to here. I have a little bit of a T here. So when I run it, I section off this end. So all the old water that's in these cartridges, I can turn that one here, which prevents it from going down to the DI filter here to cause DI burn. So it goes straight into the sink for a couple of minutes. Then I just simply switch this one off or on and this one off. So everything goes down here into my DI resin container. I'll probably be adding another one here eventually, just so I can swap them around and get a little bit more out of it. This is a solenoid valve, which goes into here. It's this optical eye on your left. So when the water reaches that, it automatically shuts off. But since this thing pumps out so much water, some redundancy is needed. So I have a float valve here as well. So if this thing wouldn't work or something breaks or something, the float valve will shut up the RDI units. The tube going down into here is not in use at the moment. I used to have that run to my Growtech 4800 SP feed pump, which fed my caulk water reactor, which I've since taken out of commission. So I'll probably use that line to run my ATO. So that thing goes here, up to the ceiling, and then into the tank. This is my saltwater mixing bin, and this is a J-bow gyre. They suck. This is the only thing it's good for. It's rattling and it's horribly loud, but it mixes up the salt very well. Lastly, I can quickly show you my quarantine setup. This is a Jewel Lido 200. It's completely stock. I haven't done much to it. I have a peppermint hogfish here at the moment, just chilling out. He's been here for about a week. He's going to be in here for at least one more week. So I make sure that he doesn't carry any weird pathogens or anything like that. But it's eating like a champ, and yeah, everything's going very well with him. It's a super simple setup, which really shows how simple a quarantine tank can be. This is the stock filter that comes with the tank. It's filled with Aquaforest biofill and a little bit of carbon. Also the stock heaters here. You can see this little thing here that goes to my Aquamatic twin temp controller. So if the stock heater, which is in here, somehow goes haywire, that will shut it off. I just have a bunch of live rock in here, some Chaetomorpha to absorb some nutrients, and a very small CJ pump here. I might try and increase the circulation in this tank eventually, but I really don't see any need for it right now. If you'd like, I can show you a more in-depth view on my views on quarantine as well. As you guys just saw, it's not a super complicated setup really. I don't have too many bits and bobs going on in the sump room. The only thing that might be kind of hard for some people to do is to have a separate sump room, which I'm very fortunate to be able to have. I hope you guys liked this short overview, or well, at least overview of all the equipment I use to run my reef tank. If you guys would like to support me, please hit the subscribe button and then the real subscribe button, which is the notification bell. Otherwise, you won't really get notified if I upload. It's up to the YouTube gods if you don't. If you have any questions, just post them down below in the comments, and I'll respond to each and every one of them. Be safe and happy reefing. Have a good one. Bye.